Imagine living in a world where the stars not only predicted the future, but determined the fate of nations, where celestial forces guided decisions of emperors, and ancient spirits whispered secrets to those who knew how to listen. Welcome, Brothers Arcane, to the Dark Primordial. I'm your host, Ken Schroer, and it's no secret that cultures across time have developed their own sacred technologies for perceiving and influencing these forces. In Japan, the most refined and sophisticated of these systems emerged during the Heian period, 794 to 1185 CE, a time when the imperial court was not only a center of political power, but also a place where the boundaries between spirituality, magic, and governance blurred. This system was known as the Onmyōdō, the way of Yin and Yang, and its practitioners, the Onmyōji, wielded knowledge that extended far beyond astrology and divination.
Onmyōdō was not a singular tradition, but a synthesis of multiple spiritual and cosmological systems, a tapestry woven from Chinese Taoist metaphysics, Buddhist cosmology, Confucian ethics, and Japan's native Shinto practices. Through this intricate weaving, the Onmyōji became mediators between heaven and earth, tasked with ensuring that cosmic harmony was maintained, disasters were averted, and the affairs of the imperial court were aligned with the will of the gods.
But the Onmyōji were not mere fortune tellers or ritualists.
They were scientists of the unseen, celestial surveyors who meticulously studied the heavens, tracked the movements of the stars and planets, and used this knowledge to discern patterns in the fabric of reality. Their tools, such as the Shishu Chin, a complex celestial surveying device, allowed them to map the cosmos and identify moments when the veils between worlds grew thin, moments when divine power could be harnessed and human destiny redirected. This was not merely mysticism. It was a form of spiritual engineering, a way of understanding and manipulating the cosmic forces that shaped the world. Yet, as with any powerful tradition, Onmyōdō was not without its challenges. The knowledge of the Onmyōji was jealously guarded, and its secrets were passed down only to the most trusted initiates. But for those who dared to walk this path, the rewards were immense. A profound understanding of the rhythms of the cosmos, the whispers of the spirits, and the subtle currents of fate. The emergence of Onmyōdō was not a sudden or isolated phenomenon, but rather the culmination of centuries of spiritual and cultural exchange between Japan and its neighbors. While Onmyōdō as a formalized practice took shape during the Heian period, its intellectual and spiritual foundations can be traced back to the arrival of Chinese metaphysics, Taoist cosmology, and Buddhist esotericism in Japan, which gradually interwove with Shinto animism and indigenous kami worship.
Central to the philosophy of Onmyōdō was the Yin-Yang cosmology, a system of dualistic interdependence that described the constant flux between opposing yet complementary forces.
Yin and Yang were not static states, but dynamic energies, the eternal pulsation of existence that gave rise to all phenomena. This concept was coupled with the wuxing, or five elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, which were understood as phases of transformation that shaped both the physical and spiritual worlds. These ideas arrived in Japan during the Asuka period, as Japanese envoys returned from the Chinese Tang court with Taoist manuscripts, astrological charts, and geomantic techniques. The adoption of these principles into Japan's spiritual landscape was gradual, but by the time of the Nara period, Chinese cosmology had become deeply embedded in court rituals, imperial governance, and religious ceremonies.
The five elements were not only seen as forces of nature, but also as psychological archetypes, energetic patterns, and spiritual currents that influenced human behavior, health, and destiny.
The Onmyōji used their knowledge of the five elements to diagnose imbalances, predict outcomes, and realign discordant energies. Each element governed a season, a direction, and an aspect of human consciousness, creating a matrix through which fate, fortune, and the will of the kami could be understood. As Buddhism spread across Japan, its influence on Onmyōdō was profound, particularly in the form of esoteric Buddhism, Ikkyo, brought by the Tendai and Shingon sects during the Nara and early Heian periods. These esoteric traditions emphasized the ritual manipulation of cosmic energies through the use of mantras, sacred chants, mudras, ritual gestures, and mandalas, cosmic diagrams. The Onmyōji incorporated these esoteric techniques into their practice, creating elaborate rituals that combine the power of sound, gesture, and visual symbolism to influence reality. The recitation of sacred syllables was believed to invoke the power of deities, align the practitioner with cosmic frequencies, and dissolve karmic impurities. Ritual hand gestures, often drawn from Buddhist iconography, were used to seal intention, direct energy, and establish spiritual boundaries. As Chinese cosmology and geomancy arrived in Japan, first through Korean envoys and Buddhist monks during the Asuka period, and later through the formalized study of Chinese classics by Japanese aristocrats, these systems did not displace the native Shinto worldview. Instead, they merged with it, creating a synthesis where Chinese metaphysical concepts were applied to Shinto cosmology. While the imported systems of Taoist and Buddhist metaphysics provided the structural framework for Onmyōdō, it was the indigenous Shinto worldview that breathed life into the practice. Shinto's reverence for kami, the divine spirits that inhabit all aspects of the natural world, gave Onmyōdō a uniquely Japanese dimension, where cosmic forces were personalized as living, conscious entities that could be appeased, consulted, or commanded. For the Onmyōji, engaging with the kami was a delicate art, requiring ritual purity, respect, and spiritual sensitivity. The kami were not merely abstract archetypes. They were real, sentient presences whose favor could be won through proper offerings, invocations, and sincere intent. This relationship between practitioner and spirit formed the core of Onmyōdō's practical application, where the goal was not domination over the unseen, but rather harmonization with it. Through the synthesis of foreign metaphysics and indigenous spirit work, the Onmyōji became masters of balance, mediating between human action, divine will, and cosmic order.
The Shihoshien was more than just a tool of celestial surveying. It was an instrument of cosmic resonance, a device that allowed the Onmyōji to perceive, map, and manipulate the invisible currents of energy that flowed between heaven, earth, and humanity.
At its core, the Shihoshien functioned as a celestial compass that aligned the practitioner with the four celestial guardians, Shishin, Shiryu, Suzaku, Byakko, and Genbu. Each guardian was associated with a direction, an element, a season, and a dimension of spiritual power. But the Shihoshien was not merely a static representation of these forces. It was an interactive device that allowed the Onmyōji to calibrate rituals, discern cosmic patterns, and attune themselves to moments of heightened spiritual significance. The four guardians were not merely symbolic representations, but living archetypes whose presence animated the universe and influenced human affairs. Shiryu, the azure dragon of the east, was the bringer of spring and renewal, embodying water's fluid energy and the force of growth and transformation. Suzaku, the vermilion bird of the south, was a manifestation of fire and inspiration. Suzaku embodied the force of creative passion and the illumination of hidden truths. Byakko, the white tiger of the west, was the keeper of autumn and the power of metal, symbolizing protection, justice, and the endurance of spiritual resolve. Genbu, the black tortoise of the north, ruled over winter and the element of earth, representing stillness, introspection, and the accumulation of hidden power. By attuning to the positions of these celestial forces using the Shihoshien, the Onmyōji could determine auspicious times for ritual work, identify potential dangers, and align human actions with the natural flow of cosmic energy. The Onmyōji relied heavily on the 10 celestial stems, Jikan, and the 12 earthly branches, Junishi, two interconnected systems of astrological reckoning that allowed them to calculate time with extraordinary precision. The celestial stems were associated with the 5 elements in their yin and yang polarities, creating a 10-fold cycle that influenced the energetic quality of each day. The earthly branches corresponded to the 12 signs of the Chinese zodiac, mapping the animal spirits that govern seasonal rhythms and personality archetypes.
By synthesizing these two systems, the Onmyōji could predict cycles of prosperity and decline, discern the most auspicious dates for rituals, and guide imperial decisions with unparalleled foresight.
The Shihoshien was also a tool for harmonization, used to align buildings, shrines, and even imperial palaces with the currents of cosmic energy. Structures designed according to the principles of geomantic alignment were believed to amplify beneficial qi, ward off malevolent forces, and create a resonance between the physical and spiritual realms. One of the most striking examples of this is the layout of Heian, modern-day Kyoto, the imperial capital established in 794 CE. The city's design was meticulously aligned with the principles of geomantic harmony, ensuring that the flow of energy through its streets and structures was aligned with the celestial guardians and the cardinal directions. The influence of the Shishin and Onmyōdō geomancy can still be seen in Kyoto's layout today, where the echoes of ancient wisdom continue to shape the landscape.
As we uncover the secrets of Onmyōdō, consider what it means to align with cosmic forces and walk the path of the Onmyōji. If this journey resonates, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share with fellow seekers. And if you're ready to bring this ancient wisdom into your own practice, explore the Dark Primordial's Etsy and Shopify stores below, featuring handcrafted talismans, astrological candles, and ritual tools to guide your path. Now, let's return to the Heian court, where fate was written in the stars.
For modern practitioners seeking to integrate Onmyōdō techniques into their spiritual practice, the key lies not in mimicking the outward forms of this tradition, but in understanding its core principles and applying them in ways that honor the spirit of Onmyōdō while respecting its cultural origins.
Astral alignment and cosmic timing remains one of the most profound insights of Onmyōdō.
The Onmyōji understood that certain moments were more auspicious than others, and that acting in harmony with the natural cycles of the universe amplified the power of ritual and intention. Modern practitioners can track the phases of the moon, the solstices, and planetary alignments to align their workings with celestial rhythms, enhancing the potency of their magical endeavors. Geomantic awareness and sacred space can create harmonious spaces that resonate with spiritual energy. Positioning altars, ritual objects, and meditation spaces in alignment with natural and directional forces mirrors the principles of Onmyōdō geomancy and Feng Shui, anchoring intentions more deeply into the material realm.
Working with the archetypes of the four celestial guardians can provide protection, inspiration, and guidance in different aspects of spiritual practice.
Meditating on the qualities and attributes of Seiryu, Suzaku, Bayako, and Genbu can align one's consciousness with cosmic archetypes and draw upon their strengths in moments of need. The Onmyōji of ancient Japan stood at the intersection of heaven, earth, and humanity, their actions guided by a profound understanding of cosmic law and spiritual balance. Their legacy, embodied in the art of Onmyōdō, offers timeless insights into the nature of harmony, power, and transformation. To walk this path today is to become a mediator between worlds, a seeker of hidden truths who strives not for domination over spiritual forces, but for attunement to the natural order. The heavens still speak, the spirits still stir, and the Shishin continues to map the currents of destiny, but only for those who have the eyes to see, the ears to listen, and the heart to understand. Are you ready to listen?